On 5 News tonight, a miraculous rescue amid Syria's carnage. Could a double murderer have claimed even more victims? And the mother battling for justice for her daughter. A baby is pulled out of rubble as government forces launch a fresh wave of attacks on Aleppo. Double murderer Christopher Halliwell is jailed for the rest of his life, but police reveal they're investigating new allegations. And the mother of Scarlett Keeling describes her devastation as 2 men are cleared of her murder.
I had to have hope all the way, up until this point, but my hopes are dashed, really.
Also tonight, we're talking about the biggest hack in history. 500 million Yahoo users have their personal details stolen. We'll find out how British accounts may have been affected. And the charity challenge that's got David Beckham's backing. So how much is a celebrity endorsement like this really worth? Good evening, welcome to 5 News Tonight. I'm Matt Barbet. New videos have emerged showing just how desperate the conflict in Syria has now become. In separate parts of Aleppo, 2 young children have been rescued alive from the rubble of their bombed-out homes. One is a 5-year-old girl who's lost her entire family, and the other is a young baby boy. A warning that Simon Viger's report now contains footage that you might find distressing.
The rescue workers know the baby boy is alive. As they tear at the rubble, it is another miracle survival in the living hell that is Aleppo. But at least he's alive and is taken away for treatment. At a different location, the team here also knows this 5-year-old girl is alive. She has survived the airstrike, an airstrike which has made her an orphan. The girl's parents, her 3 sisters and her brother all died. But from her cries, at least we know she is alive. The girl was later taken to hospital. The rebel-held part of Aleppo has been pounded for a second day. Syria's ceasefire did not last long. Russia will neither confirm nor deny it's taking part in these airstrikes. The US says it's not giving up on diplomacy, but the anger is clear.
We need significant action now. It can't be based on exceptions and loopholes and carve-outs that every time are exploited by one party or another in order specifically to undermine the cessation of hostilities.
It is about as bleak as it gets. One rescue worker in Aleppo told 5 News they have no faith in international diplomacy.
They said a lot of times we must stop bombing. Someone in the who called the shots said, oh, okay, we need to stop the bombing. The other one, it was said a lot, and that now we don't trust anyone.
This is a stalemate with no sign at all of an end to the suffering. Simon Viger, 5 News.
A former taxi driver has been told he will die behind bars for the murders of 2 women. Christopher Halliwell was given the rare whole life sentence after being convicted of the 2nd murder early this week. But police are now opening other unsolved cases, saying they believe there must be other victims out there. From Bristol Crown Court, Layla Hayes reports.
For years, Christopher Halliwell evaded justice. Now he's a convicted double murderer. Today he was sentenced for killing 20-year-old Becky Godden, who went missing 13 years ago. He's already serving a life sentence for the murder of Sian O'Callaghan in 2011. Now police believe he may be responsible for the deaths of more women.
There must be other victims out there, whether they are sexual offences or other women that he's taken. I will appeal to Christopher Halliwell again. Now's the time to tell the truth for once in your life. Come forward and speak to me.
I can resolve the matter.
In police interviews last year, Halliwell was told there was new evidence against him in relation to Becky's murder, but he still put the family through a new trial. In a statement read out in court, Becky's mum said, "My whole world has been destroyed. I'll never be able to give her a hug, take her shopping, brush her hair, the little things we all take for granted. I can only buy flowers for her grave. Sentencing Christopher Halliwell to a whole life term. The judge called him self-centred and domineering and said he was both calculating and devious. Christopher Halliwell showed no reaction. Becky Godden's family were in tears. The court heard that 5 years ago, Halliwell took police to a field in Gloucestershire where Becky Godden was buried. But Detective Steve Fulcher, who was leading the case, failed to caution him properly. And as there was no solicitor present, the evidence couldn't be used in court. Today, Becky Godden's father said he's still angry with Detective Fulcher, who has since left Wiltshire Police.
I'm raging, I'm upset and I'm mentally scarred for what that one man did. I blame him just as much as Halliwell. There's only two people who know the truth. What actually went happen was Fulcher and Mr. Halliwell.
Leaving in a prison van, the judge said Christopher Halliwell will now die in prison. Police say they now believe the 52-year-old taxi driver could hold the answers to other unsolved crimes.
Well, a short time ago, Layla told us more about what police have been saying about this case.
Well, Wiltshire Police say they've already had a number of calls of interest to their incident room, including some since Christopher Halliwell was convicted on Monday. They say they'll now be liaising with other police forces looking at missing people and whether there may be more potential victims. Christopher Halliwell has, of course, been given a whole life term. That means there is no chance of parole. And this is a sentence reserved for the most dangerous offenders in society, people like the Moors murderer Ian Brady. For Becky Godden's family, finally they have justice after 13 years. And today, the judge praised them for their courage throughout.
Layla Hayes. The internet company Yahoo has admitted that hackers managed to steal the personal details of more than 500 million of its users. The breach happened back in 2014, but Yahoo says it's only just realised now. It believes the breach was so big it can only have been backed by a country's government. Catherine Jones has been finding out what it could mean for you.
It's an internet giant millions rely on for email and a host of other online services. But now Yahoo has discovered that in 2014, hackers stole the details of 500 million accounts. Banking data and unencrypted passwords were not taken, but names, emails, phone numbers, dates of birth and answers to security questions have been in the hands of cyber criminals for 2 years.
It's one of the worst, absolutely, not just because, as I say, of the scale of the 500 million records themselves, but also because of the potential for breaking into other accounts. If people have used that data to reset their password in other accounts where they've used the same password, you know, it's as long as a piece of string.
Yahoo's hack is the largest of a long list of internet security breaches. In the last 2 years alone, 145 million eBay accounts were compromised. 37 million people were exposed as customers of Ashley Madison, a site for arranging extramarital affairs. And hackers got hold of the bank details of 16,000 TalkTalk customers. Yahoo believes the hackers had the backing of a national government.
Yahoo is part of a string of very large data breaches. So people in the world are being put into like giant telephone books in large data sets, which means over their careers, whether they're in the military, in essential services, critical infrastructure, a hostile nation state knows where you are, what your preferences are, and how it can manipulate your attitudes.
The advice to Yahoo account holders is to change password and change security answers for other accounts if they're similar to the answers to your Yahoo security questions. Also, avoid opening links or attachments in emails you aren't expecting, no matter how official they appear. The FBI is now working with Yahoo to track down the hackers, but the damage to customers and to the company's reputation has already been done. Catherine Jones, 5 News.
So just how safe is your Yahoo account now? What should you do if you think you may have been hacked? Let's speak to Professor Peter Sommer, who's a digital forensics expert. Peter, good to see you again. Let's deal first and foremost with this idea that this was state-sponsored hacking. Yahoo seems to think it was because it was such a huge breach.
It doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, what is a state intelligence agency going to do with that number of email accounts for very ordinary people? Now, if we look, say, at what happened just over a year ago with the US Office of Personnel Management, now that was a federal agency which vetted people who were going to work in secure situations in the United States. That's of obvious value to a foreign intelligence agency. And also, there have been strong rumours that this stuff has been put up for sale. There was an organisation called Peace, which earlier on offered email accounts or detailed accounts from LinkedIn, which is another service. It doesn't really make much sense to me.
Why have they only found out about it now if it happened 2 years ago and it was such a massive breach of their security?
They may not have known about it. I mean, obviously, you only know about things if you get that phone call demanding blackmail, or if the stuff is put up on the web. So they may not have known about it. There's a more sinister explanation. I put it as a hypothesis, no more. Yahoo has been in commercial trouble for an awfully long time. It sold itself to Verizon, a very large US telecommunications company. I would think that deal is in difficulty, to say the least. Okay. So there may have been some active concealment, and it wouldn't surprise me if people are investigating that right now.
That's the background to all of this. What about those people out there who've got Yahoo accounts? Many people have and haven't had an email yet saying they've been hacked. Should they consider themselves safe?
I have old Yahoo accounts which I haven't used for a very, very long time, so I'm slightly concerned. I have changed my passwords. You just showed in the clip the sort of standard bits of advice, and it's also up actually on the Channel News Facebook page. Because I did change your passwords, but if you haven't had any particular problems so far, maybe it's not going to happen.
Fingers crossed for many, many people out there. Thank you very much indeed, Peter. Good to see you again. Now, a judge in India has cleared 2 men of raping and killing a British schoolgirl on a family holiday 8 years ago. The body of 15-year-old Scarlett Keeling was found on a beach in Goa in 2008. Police initially treated it as an accident before they then arrested 2 local men. As they walked free from court today, Scarlett's mother promised to continue her fight for justice. Olivia Kinsley has more.
Led from court by her lawyer, Fiona McEwen seemed in shock. It's 8 years since her teenage daughter Scarlett was found bruised and lifeless on a beach in India, and 6 since this trial began. Today the judge took just moments to find 2 local men not guilty.
I'll speak later. Yeah, I'm still shocked, really.
Samson D'Souza on the left and Placido Carvalho were alleged to have plied Scarlett with drugs, raped her and left her unconscious, accusations they always denied. D'Souza stood behind his lawyer outside court. Placido Carvalho also left a free man. This afternoon, Fiona McEwen said she's reeling from the verdicts.
I still can't get my head around how she could let them off on everything when there were so many witnesses saw them putting drugs out for her.
The family from North Devon were on a 6-month trip to India and staying in Anjuna, a haven for backpackers. When they travelled on, Scarlett, who was 15, asked to stay in Anjuna for a Valentine's Day party, and her mum Fiona said yes, something she said she will always regret. The local police initially claimed that Scarlett had accidentally drowned, but a second post-mortem showed bruises all over her body and signs of a sexual assault. Local news footage from the time shows Fiona in Anjuna, where she fought for a criminal investigation. She feels the justice system has failed them.
I had to have hope all the way, up until this point, but my hopes are dashed, really. It seems she wasn't worth anything to them.
She now faces the difficult decision of whether to walk away without answers or to fight on for Scarlett by taking the case to a higher court. Olivia Kinsley, 5 News.
Just a little earlier, I spoke to Michael Safi, who is The Guardian's South Asia correspondent. I began by asking Michael what Scarlett's family is going to do next.
She's absolutely devastated. She said that she was reeling, that she's been so strong. She's fought this case for 8 years and overcome numerous setbacks. But she said that in the wake of today's decision, she doesn't know if she has the strength or, frankly, the money to be able to take this case to a higher court and try to get some measure of justice for her daughter.
So is she convinced then that this is a miscarriage of justice, or does she think there is someone else out there who's guilty of killing Scarlett?
no, look, she's very convinced the two men who were acquitted today were one responsible for her daughter's death. I mean, you know, in order to get to this point, she had to actually go and take the body of her daughter herself. She had to physically count the number of wounds on the child, and she has, you know, she's managed to kind of get witness statements from people who placed the two men who were acquitted today. At least one of them at the scene, you know, hours before her daughter was found dead. But the fact is, the court looked at this now for a long time, 8 years, and they've come to the other conclusion. So she's at a crossroads.
Surely Fiona McKeown can't be the only person in India frustrated at the justice system here.
Indeed, and I mean, there's a lot of frustration inside India about the very slow pace of the legal system here. I mean, cases that might take a year or 2 years in the UK here, simply because of the sheer number of people seeking some sort of legal redress, end up taking, as we've seen in this case, up to 8 years. And certainly the news of the acquittal today has not been welcomed or celebrated in the Indian press. I mean, people here recognise that the young girl was sexually assaulted, she was killed, and nobody has faced justice for it. And so certainly questions are being asked about how we got to this point in the UK and also here in India.
Guardian's Michael Safi talking to me a bit earlier on. Still to come on 5 News Tonight. Pressing ahead with a press-up challenge, a campaign for military veterans gets a bit of a lift from Bex himself. And we'll hear from Daniel Radcliffe and what it was like playing a neo-Nazi in his latest film. That's coming up after the break. Welcome back. You're watching 5 News Tonight. If you're on Facebook, you've no doubt seen videos of people doing press-ups, 22 of them to be precise, or push-ups as they're called. It is a challenge that's designed to support military veterans with post-traumatic stress. And now David Beckham has got involved. He was nominated by his friend, the film director Guy Ritchie, and being Beckham, he had to add a little bit of a twist, of course. Here's Ruth Liptrot.
So this is the second day of my 22 press-ups consecutively in 22 days.
As social media campaigns go, this one has just hit the jackpot. It's David Beckham in his underpants on a piano doing press-ups to raise awareness of PTSD. The 22 push-up campaign started in the States, where it's thought that 22 servicemen and women take their own lives every day because of post-traumatic stress disorder. Robert Marsh is from the charity Combat Stress, the mental health charity for veterans.
7, 8.
We don't know what the figures are in the UK because nobody's actually monitoring those, but that's not really important. The important thing is that this gives us an opportunity to raise awareness of mental health amongst the veteran population and, of course, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
I hereby accept your challenge.
Also taking up the challenge, thanks to his dad, is Brooklyn Beckham. Actor Tom Hardy did it in a gold jumpsuit.
Thank you. Oh, that's good. I lost count.
And action hero The Rock did it with a dog bite in his head.
80, 90.
And it's not just celebrities. Here are Chichester Police, who are frankly showing off. And lots of veterans as well, of course. But you don't have to be a fitness fanatic.
So there are a number of ways of doing this. You can either do a full push-up, and if you can't do a full press-up, you can do it on your knees. And if that's still too hard, you can do it on a wall or a tree. This though, no, you can't do that.
Anyway, certainly seems to be on people's radar.
Do you know what the 22 push-up challenge is?
Yes, it's 22 push-ups for 22 days.
Yeah, and what's it for?
To raise awareness for post-traumatic stress disorder.
Excellent. Oh, would you take it on?
Yes.
Is it a good idea, do you think?
Yes.
Yes, very good idea.
Very good. Just 22 press-ups, right?
Every day.
Every day? Oh, wow. Yeah, I could do that.
You know what, though? I'm still not sure of the technique. So shall we have a look at David Beckham again to make sure? Ruth Liptrot, 5 News.
It's pretty weird, that, isn't it, at the end? Let's talk now about this, just how important it is to get a high-profile celebrity like Beckham to back your campaign. With me is Matt Collins, who's a digital marketing expert. It's going to give it a boost, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first thing to know is that fundraising campaigns like this are happening every single day, and it's not till high-profile celebrities like David Beckham decide to lend their name to it that it takes off and takes it to the next level.
He doesn't do this kind of thing by accident, though. There's going to be, of course, he's being altruistic in doing it and joining in and, you know, shining a light on post-traumatic stress, all those important things, no doubt, but he's very aware of his own brand, and this is going to reflect well on him as well.
Absolutely. Being involved in any kind of charity campaign is going to reflect well on Brand Beckham, and anything that involves him doing push-ups on a plane and having this kind of banter with Guy Ritchie is going to be really, you know, it's going to benefit his publicity as well.
Push-ups on a plane? On a piano? Really? with booze lying around? Is that such a smart move on his part?
It's not maybe the smartest move, but it's
Yeah.
baked into the campaign to do it in the most unusual, crazy, wacky, attention-grabbing places possible, because that's what gets the charity message.
Yeah, so this has given this charity message a lift. We've seen it with the Ice Bucket Challenge. Why do others, though, not do so well? Other sort of viral, there's Beckham again doing his bit with his shirt off. Why do others not do so well, not take off in the same way?
So campaigns like this have been going around for a long time, and there's so many charities have tried to imitate the success of Ice Bucket Challenge and campaigns like this. Not all of them have the social element baked in where you nominate other people. Not all of them have the element of, you know, watching people do push-ups and sort of make fools of themselves in public effectively. But there is a secret ingredient that the Ice Bucket Challenge has, that the push-up challenge has. Nobody really knows what it is, because if they did know what it is, you'd be having this report every day.
And you'd be marketing and selling it. Here's the thing, with the Ice Bucket Challenge, if you didn't want to do it, you pay money to the charity. What they found was, though, some people were just doing it and they didn't know what charity it was for. Is there a risk that this push-ups challenge, as it's called, as Americans, they're not calling it press-ups, is going to go the same way? People are doing these things on Facebook. They don't know why, and the charity makes no money from it anyway.
Yeah, there's always going to be a smaller percentage of people who actually donate to the charity and are looking to end the problem, not just kind of raise awareness of the problem, but to donate the money that's going to contribute to ending it full stop. And if that's a small percentage of people, and that small percentage of people raises millions of pounds, while the greater number of people are just doing it for the fun and because it's something that's going around on Facebook, then I think the charities whose lives they're helping to change aren't necessarily going to mind too much.
OK. Matt, many thanks. Now, 6 more Team GB athletes have had their medical details leaked by Russian hackers. They include gold medalist Saskia Clark and Richard Chambers. The files show some of the medication they've been taking during the Olympic Games. A total of 23 British athletes, who also included Justin Rose, have been targeted. There is no suggestion any of them have done anything wrong. The founder of Sports Direct, Mike Ashley, is making himself chief executive of the company. He's taking over after the previous one resigned. The firm has faced criticism for its treatment of people who work there. And the FBI says it is gathering information about an alleged incident involving Brad Pitt and his children aboard a private jet last week. His wife, Angelina Jolie, filed for divorce on Monday, citing irreconcilable differences. She's asked for physical custody of the couple's 6 children, but has asked the judge to allow Pitt visitation rights. Daniel Radcliffe is on the red carpet tonight promoting his latest movie. The former Harry Potter star is attending the premiere of Imperium, where he plays an FBI agent who infiltrates a right-wing extremist gang.
We could always use a man like you, Nathan. Educated, war veteran, clean record.
And so what's the overall objective?
This is revolutionary activity we're talking about here.
Bit of a different role for him. Our reporter Jess Omri caught up with Daniel Radcliffe a few moments ago, and he told her about the film.
It's inspired by a true story, by various true stories actually. I play an FBI agent who goes undercover to sort of infiltrate the world of white supremacists and a few white supremacist gangs, whilst also sort of foiling a terrorist plot. But it is, it's an interesting one because the character is sort of somebody who's not physical and he's forced into this very sort of terrifying world, and just like it feels like a very authentic movie about what undercover life is like.
And it's very intense. I've seen some of it, the clips we've just seen.
Yeah, no, it is intense. I mean, we would definitely, you know, if we made the movie not intense and it was about FBI and undercoverness and white supremacy, we would have not been doing our jobs.
That's a fair point. And so it was shot a year ago, but since then quite a lot's changed in the UK and the US politically.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you worry some of the opinions in the film are becoming mainstream?
Well, they are definitely. I mean, since we made the movie, there's a lot of the opinions in the film that were sort of in the movie are kind of being talked about in basements and, you know, sort of dark corners are now being very much talked about on, you know, election stages and things like that in America particularly. So yeah, it's very scary, and hopefully a film like this will maybe be able to, you know, just alert people to the fact that white supremacists do still exist, which a lot of people seem to think they don't.
You have another film premiering here tonight.
Yes.
Is one not enough?
Yeah, no, I will not be happy until I make everybody watch 3.5 hours of my face. So yeah, the other movie is Swiss Army Man, and it's utterly crazy and different from Imperium, and different from every other film that's ever been made, in my opinion. It's a comedy. It's incredibly surreal. If you want to see another actor ride me across the water like a jet ski, this is probably the only film that will happen in.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. And you have quite a lot of Harry Potter fans here tonight. Our audience will know you best, perhaps, as Harry Potter. Should they, you know, are they going to be shocked by these characters?
I don't think they'll. I mean, it's hard to say with Swiss Army Man. Swiss Army Man is not for everyone, but for the people who it is for, they are going to just love it more than anything else on earth, I think. With Imperium, I don't think that will shock people. I think that's it's not a similar character, but it's a character sort of in the same intense sort of world. I have them at the beginning, yes, I do. It's not my finest look at the beginning of this, at the beginning of Imperium. I definitely think, like, post head shave, I'm a lot more fond of how I looked in that movie.
But you're not rocking it anymore?
No, I'm just very relieved it grew back.
Okay.
No, yeah.
And so, for those fans, is there any chance of a Potter comeback?
Not that I know of, not that I've heard of, and I don't think I would. Like, if it was something that was happening sort of now or soon, I think that would be way too soon for me to go back to it. I'm never closing the door on anything, but by the same token, I'm really enjoying doing lots of different things at the moment, and so I'm not looking to rush back to it.
But one day you'll make those dreams come true.
I'm not going to commit to that now. I'm not giving you that exclusive. I know what you're trying to do. I know your game. No.
Have to ask. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Good try, Jess. He wasn't going to give you anything. Well, he's got 2 films to promote tonight, hasn't he? He's not going to talk about Harry Potter too much. That's it from us. Do have a good weekend. See you again on Monday. Bye-bye.